Thank you for joining us. Welcome to LumioseStation.
Swiggity swag, what's in the bag? LumioseStation Jay here, and I'm bringing you guys another Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle. So last time I asked you guys to leave comments asking me what Pokemon did you want to see, and I saw Gallade about 3 times in the comments, and I was like, okay, so let's try to use Gallade. Unfortunately, Gallade doesn't really put work in this battle, but the battles that Gallade did put in work were kind of sort of lopsided, so I chose not to upload those. But this was a really good battle. This was a really long battle against SilverEspeon, but he gave me a really good battle, and I decided to show you guys because it was just a really good battle. So looking at the teams, he has a Cofagrigus. I hate Cofagrigus. I can never deal with them the way I want to, so yeah, and they're just very defensive, and it's just ridiculous. But he leads off with it, as I'm gonna lead off with my Landorus, and my Landorus isn't necessarily like most Landoruses. Like, this Landorus is more defensive, max HP, max defense, with Stealth Rocks, because no one really expects that from a Landorus, honestly. But I'm gonna go ahead and U-turn out because I know he's gonna try to Will-O-Wisp, and I kind of don't want my Landorus burned at this point in the match. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into my Blissey, because my Blissey does have Natural Cure. It also has Heal Bell, just in case I need to Heal Bell anything off of my team or whatnot, get rid of any statuses. And at this point, I'm just gonna go for the Toxic, because I can't do anything else to the Cofagrigus, because my only attacking move is Seismic Toss. But he's gonna go into a Skuntank, probably predicting that. And yeah, I can't do anything to Skuntank outside of a Seismic Toss. A Seismic Toss, there you go. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch out of here because I don't really want to take any kind of physical hit from this Skuntank, and I'm gonna go into my Gallade, because my Gallade does have Justified. If he tries to go for not Sucker Punch, Night Slash or whatever, I can easily take that. Well, I can't easily take that, but I will get a Justified boost, and I would like that. But he's gonna go into Cofagrigus. I predict him to go into Cofagrigus, predicting me to go for the Fighting type move, and I go for the Night Slash instead, which was really good because I did get a nice critical hit with the Night Slash. So this is probably like the only good prediction that I actually make in this battle. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch out because I fear the Will-O-Wisp, so I'm gonna go into my Blissey, because my Blissey can take the burn for days. But he actually goes for the Shadow Ball. So even though I was predicting him to go for the Will-O-Wisp, my switch into Blissey was really good, because I don't think he can really do anything to my Blissey unless he has I guess Hidden Power Fighting. But my Blissey is especially defensive, so it's not like he can really do anything. But he goes for the Willow as I go for the Toxic. I think I have the better status on him, because I can force him to switch out, just because toxic damage is gonna rack up, and I have the Heal Bell. He doesn't. He probably does carry Pain Split though, which is kind of unfortunate. But he's actually going to go ahead and switch out of here, and he's going to go into his Gastro. Not necessarily sure why, but I'm going to go for the Heal Bell, just because. I mean, I could have just switched out here, but I was just like, nah, let's just go for Heal Bell. I feel like hearing the chime, just because I feel like looking at the bell. I don't know, but I'm gonna go for the Toxic on this Gastrodon, because Gastrodons are pretty damn bulky too. If you've never faced a Gastrodon before, you might want to face one and then get back to me on that, because Gastrodons are just so physically defensive. But he goes for the Toxic. I'm like, I just showed you Heal Bell, so I guess maybe he was predicting me to switch out or something. I'm not necessarily sure, but again, I mean, any status on my Blissey does not matter, because all I have to do is switch out, and my status is cured. But I'm gonna go ahead and go into my Galvantula now, because I want to set up the Sticky Webs. I love setting up my Sticky Web, because he doesn't have a Rapid Spinner on his team. So once I set him up, they're there to stay, and I don't necessarily need my Galvantula for anything on his team. He has a Charizard, but at this point, I don't know if it's Charizard X or Y. So and even if it's X, I can just Latias and Draco Meteor. If it's Y, I can just stall it out with Chansey, no problem. but he's gonna go into his Latias as I'm gonna go ahead and go for the sticky web. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch out my Galvantula to save it either for death fodder or just to save it just in case I can actually use it again sometime in the battle, maybe against the Charizard or something, I don't know. But I'm gonna go ahead and go into my Blissey just to take a special hit if he wants to try to go for the attacking move. But he actually goes for the Calm Mind, which is actually kind of scary because Calm Mind Latias is a thing in UU, and I don't even see why Latias is in UU right now. Like I've only been playing OU. Like this match is OU because, you know, we're carrying some OU threats. I'm pretty sure Charizard is OU, or Mega. The Megas are OU or whatever. But yeah, I go for the Heal Bell here, just to get that burn off of my Galvantula. Not like it necessarily matters because in upcoming turns, Galvantula is gonna be the what's the word, fodder. But he goes for the Psyshock, which actually surprised him because it does a lot of damage. I was about to say a bad word right there. I don't know why I stopped myself, but it does a lot of damage, and that damage is really scary because I still want to keep my Blissey around because he still has the Gastro, and then he still has the Charizard, which we still don't know if it's Charizard X or Y. But if it's Charizard Y, I can stop it with my Blissey. But I'm gonna go ahead and go into Galvantula as death fodder because Galvantula is the weakest link on my team. I don't really need it anymore. I can handle basically everything else on his team now, and I have the sticky web up, so that's basically Galvantula's main role. So now that I have a free switch, I can go into my own Latias. Now his Latias is probably like max HP, max speed, I want to say. I'm not sure what he's running, but if he is max speed, then I won the speed tie, and I am able to go for the Draco Meteor, and I am able to kill. I do get a crit. That crit probably, I don't know if that crit really mattered. I don't know. I'm max HP. I'm max special attack, max speed with the Life Orb. Timid nature though, and he was +2 special defense. So I'm not necessarily sure if that crit really mattered. But I was so glad I got that though, because if I didn't, this game would have definitely ended very badly for me. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch out, go into my Landorus because I don't want my Latias to take a dark type attack. But he actually goes for the Sucker Punch, which is actually pretty cool. But now I'm gonna go ahead and go for my Stealth Rocks just so that Charizard can come in and get wrecked by them Stealth Rocks. As he goes for the Crunch, but the Crunch is not gonna do anything because first of all, my Landorus is max HP, max defense, impish nature, and then the Intimidate drop just kind of, you know, adds salt to the wound. So he's going to switch out, and he's going to go into his Gastro. What did I go for? I'm not necessarily sure what I went for. I probably went for an EQ just to be safe. Or, yeah, look at all this entry hazard crap. But, yeah, I do go for the EQ just to get some damage on whatever comes in outside of the Charizard. But I highly doubt he would bring in Charizard this early because he doesn't want to take them Stealth Rock damage. And I could have easily just went for a Stone Edge. But I just decided to go for the Earthquake. It was safer. It hits basically everything else on his team pretty decently. But now I'm gonna go for the U-turn. I probably could have just went for another Earthquake and killed, but I didn't want to risk the min-max variation because he could have if it didn't kill, then that would have been a dead Landorus because the Scald would have definitely destroyed him. But I decided to go for the U-turn and go into my Blissey because I need my Blissey at full HP again. So I'm going to take this time to go for the Soft Bolt because I know that Gastrodon cannot kill me at all. Like, it unless he gets a crit, it cannot kill my Blissey with a Scald or Earth Power, Ice Beam, or whatever it has. It can't. It just can't. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Soft Boil this turn and get my HP back up to a nice, decent amount. And I think he goes for the Recover. Yeah, he goes for the Recover. And now he's back up to a decent amount of HP as well. But it doesn't matter just because the Gastrodon is not even a problem anymore. It's poisoned. And I still have Latias that can just come in, Draco Meteor, and easily take it out if need be. Yeah, the Gastrodon is it's not necessarily a threat. I don't know if he has anything else left on his team that I'm actually, you know, quote unquote afraid of. But yeah. He goes for the Scald. I'm not necessarily sure why. Probably trying to fish for a burn, but he doesn't get the burn. Unfortunately for him, I know how that feels. Go for like 3 scalds in a row, no burn. But if your opponent goes for a scald once, they get the burn. It's like, really, hacks? You're just gonna play like that, hacks? Okay, forget you. But I'm gonna go ahead and switch out and go into my Latias because I want this Gastrodon dead, and nothing on his team can take a Life Orb Draco Meteor safely from my Latias. I could just as easily run Latios on this team instead of Latias, but I just like Latias a lot better than Latios. But it doesn't even matter because the toxic damage is enough to take out the Gastrodon. But now he's going to go into the Skuntank. I can't risk my Latias taking a crunch from that Skuntank, so I am going to go ahead and switch out and go into my Gallade because I want it to use Gallade in this battle for you guys. So I go into Gallade. I know he's going to go for the Dark type move. My Gallade does pack the Justified, so I am going to be able to get the attack raise. And then I think I go for, what do I go for? What do I make this thing go for? Do I go for the Bulk Up or Substitute or Drain Punch? No, he goes for the Sucker Punch, and I get the Justified boost. And then I go for the Drain Punch now. That's right. Okay. So I go for the Drain Punch just to try to get my HP back because I was pretty sure that a Night Slash or whatever he wanted to go for wasn't going to kill. And I do get a nice decent amount of HP back. But now I'm going to go ahead and go for the Substitute because I felt like he was going to go for another Sucker Punch, and I could easily just set up behind the Substitute. So no, I go for the Bulk Up. What? Okay, no. My bad. I bulk up this turn, then I go for the Substitute because I think I felt I felt comfortable with the amount of HP that I had. So I go for the Substitute now, so then I can at least bulk up behind the sub. But he goes for the Crunch, and I do believe he breaks my Substitute, which kind of sucks. Does he break the sub? Yeah, he breaks the sub, which kind of sucks, but I mean, Gallade doesn't really have the best physical defense. Even at +1 from the bulk up, it's not necessarily enough. But honestly, right here, I was kind of mad because I wanted Gallade to get a kill, but he goes for the Sucker Punch, and he actually gets a crit and kills Gallade. So Gallade didn't really get to do much work in this battle. I honestly think that crit mattered just because when he went for the Crunch and or Sucker Punch before, I was at around like half HP. And it did not kill. So and now my Gallade was at +1 defense. So I think that crit mattered, honestly. But I'm gonna bring in my Landorus. I predicted him to kind of go into his Charizard now. They're predicting me to go for the Earthquake to kill off his Skuntank. But he just stays in, and I end up missing the Stone Edge, which is like, what, really? Okay, that's fine, whatever. I'm just gonna go for the Earthquake this turn and take out his Skuntank. I don't care if he tries switching Charizard. I still have Blissey around, so the Charizard is not even a threat. But he just stays in, and I go ahead and take out the Skuntank, and I'm looking pretty good right now. This is a really long battle, like, wow. Oh my goodness. But now he actually brings in his Chansey, which I have not seen since the battle began. Like, he has not brought out that Chansey ever since the battle began, and I was like, why hasn't he brought out? Why did he wait till now to bring out the Chansey? Because that Chansey could have definitely stopped my Latias for sure. But I don't know, maybe he just didn't want to switch out his own Latias because his Latias was he thought he could take a Draco at +2 special defense. But I mean, honestly, I thought he would have. But I go for the Stone Edge now on the Chansey, try to get a crit. It doesn't really work out, and now he just goes for the Seismic Toss, and I'm just like, okay, I need something to deal with this Chansey. My Gallade is down, which really upsets me because Gallade would have Drain Punched the crap out of that Chansey. But I'm gonna go ahead and go for the U-turn. And what do I U-turn into? Do I U-turn into a Azumarill? I probably do. Yep. Haha. Because Azumarill has the superpower. Yeah, but he has Cofagrigus though. That's the real problem. He has Cofagrigus, so I can't go for a superpower safely because my Azumarill is choice banded. So I just go ahead and go for the Waterfall. Oh yeah, this is the stally part of the match right here. Here you go. So he goes for the Thunder Wave, and I'm like, okay, this kind of sucks because now I'm at risk of getting fully paralyzed, and now he's going to be faster than me, so he can soft boiled before I can go for the Waterfall and take him out. So he's gonna get back up to a reasonable amount of HP. I go for the waterfall again. Luckily, I don't get paralyzed or fully paralyzed, and I literally just take away all that HP he just got back from the soft boiled. He goes for another soft boiled. Oh man, I could have sped this up, but I totally forgot about this part, and I'm not about to redo the recording. Holy crap! But basically it's just a stall match right here. But now he goes for the seismic toss, and at this point I get paralyzed, and I'm like, really? Of all times to get paralyzed, I get paralyzed when he decides to basically sack off the Chansey. Like, are you kidding me? So he goes for another soft boil. I go for another waterfall, and it's basically a back and forth thing. I'm pretty sure he was just waiting for me to get fully paralyzed during a soft boiled. But I think this turn I am able to take him out with the waterfall. I keep on going for waterfall because, you know, like I said before, I am choice banded. Because if my Azumarill was not choice banded, a superpower would have definitely been coming his way. But luckily for me, I didn't get fully paralyzed that turn. So yeah, whoop. All right. So now he brings in the Charizard. I can't remember. No, this is not his last Pokemon. His last Pokemon is Cofagrigus, I'm pretty sure. But I feel like since he brought it in, he's a Charizard Y, and he's gonna go for the Solar Beam. So I bring in Blissey, and I was right. He is Charizard Y, because why in the hell would you ever bring in a Charizard X on an Azumarill? Like, no one would ever do that. That's mad. So yeah, I made the pretty good switch here, and I think I just go for the Toxic next turn because I know that Charizard cannot do anything to my Blissey. Blissey just has way too much special bulk and HP you know, it has too much. Like I used to hate Blissey. Now I love Blissey because Blissey is great. As to why it's not a fairy type, I don't know. It's still pure normal, and I don't understand why. Well, yeah, I don't really understand why, because that would give Blissey two weaknesses instead of just one if it was like fairy, you know? I don't know. They could have easily just made that thing fairy, but I go for the Toxic here just so, you know, he's gonna have to stay in with his Charizard because he's not gonna want to switch it out because of Stealth Rocks. You know, he does have the Roost, but even with the Roost though, I feel like he still wouldn't want to switch out his Charizard. There's no point in him switching it out. So he's gonna stay in, go for Fire Blast, as toxic damage is gonna rack up on him. I go for the Seismic Toss here because I knew I could take a couple more Fire Blasts before I needed to soft boil. And even if he wants to try to roost off the damage, toxic damage is gonna rack up, and it'll eventually rack up enough to the point where it will kill him. So he's just gonna keep on going for Fire Blast. I'm actually glad he kept on going for Fire Blast and not, you know, try to roost off the damage and keep trying to roost, because I got into a Wi-Fi battle with someone who tried to do that. Charizard was there. There's a siren outside. That's great. Charizard. I've battled someone who their last Pokemon was a Charizard Y, and I had my Blissey in, and their Charizard was Toxic Poison. And they kept on roosting, and I'm like, why you keep on roosting? The battle is over. Like, just let it die. Like, I don't know why they did that. But anyway, I switch out now, go into Azumarill because I'm like, okay, I'm tired of this stall match here. I'm just going to go into Azumarill and go for the Aqua Jet. I felt like he was going to go for the Fire Blast again because it did most damage, but he actually went for the Air Slash, which was actually pretty good on his part. But it doesn't matter because my Azumarill is banded, and yeah, the Aqua Jet was a thing. And wait, did I go for the Heal Bell at one point in time? Did I? Because I can't even tell if my Azumarill is still paralyzed because the HP bar has not appeared for Azumarill yet. Whoa. Yeah, where's Azumarill's HP bar? Okay. Oh wait, never mind. Oh, I probably did go for the Heal Bell at one point in time, huh? Wow. Okay then, that's cool. He goes for the Will-O-Wisp and burns my Azumarill, but I can just bring in Latias and play cleanup. So that is good game, SilverEspeon. I hope you guys enjoyed this really long battle. This was definitely a long battle. It could have been shorter if that stall session between Chansey and Azumarill wasn't a thing, but it was. But I hope you guys enjoyed this battle, and if you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the other conductors here on LumioStation, and be sure to leave in the comments what Pokemon you want to see me use, and I will check you guys out later. Peace.